want to tell you a story that still gives me chills. It's a story about fraud, loss, and near collapse. But more importantly, it's a story about systems, truth, and the kind of recovery only structure can bring. A few years ago, I got a call from a finance executive at a company I'd known for some time. Their tone was urgent. They needed help, not in the usual way, not with setup or training, but with something far more serious. Their business had been the victim of deep, silent, prolonged fraud, and no one saw it coming until the tax authority came knocking. This wasn't just about taxes. It was about invoices that had vanished, payments that were made but never recorded, receipts that were issued and then deleted. At first, they thought maybe the documents had just been misplaced, that someone forgot to upload a file. But when they opened the system, there was nothing that matched what the tax auditors were asking for. No invoices, no receipts, no proof of transactions. And worse, the team members who had been managing those files were gone, quietly resigned, moved on, or so it seemed. In the middle of COVID, with businesses already stretched thin, this company now had a different crisis. $150,000 in tax penalties because they couldn't prove what they had sold, because they couldn't produce what was owed, because they couldn't account for what was real. And when they called me, it wasn't just about saving face, it was about survival. I started digging, backups, logs, remnants, anything I could find. And slowly, we began recovering the records. Not all of them, but enough. Enough to show the auditors that the company hadn't disappeared into fraud willingly, that there was truth beneath the smoke. Enough to reverse the penalty, enough to save them $150,000. But the real discovery came later, when the forensic audit was ordered. Not one, but two full-scale forensic audits. People were issuing receipts to customers, real receipts. Then, after the customer left, they'd delete the invoice, take the money, and leave no trace in the system. And because the system had no proper audit trail, no access logs, no alerts, no record versioning, they got away with it for years until they didn't. This is what shook me. A company that had done everything right on the surface. They had digital tools, they had departments and staff, they had revenue. But what they didn't have, visibility, structure, a system built for integrity. They had bought software, but they didn't have ERP. Let me say something here. ERP is not software. It is structure. It is accountability. It is protection. When I say use an ERP, I'm not talking about an app you log into once a week. I'm talking about building a framework for your business to survive anything. Theft checks, scrutiny, staff turnover, operational shocks. Because when a business has ERP done right, every document matters. Every transaction is tracked. Every excess is recorded. And that's what stops a company from bleeding internally. When this company's finance manager eventually resigned, he looked me in the eye and said, when finance staff live like this, just know the company might not survive. Those words haunted me because he wasn't wrong. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. But structure can restore what trust alone can't hold. I want to talk to you, the business owner, about what this means for you. You may be thinking, we've never had fraud. We trust our people. We have controls. And maybe that's true. But if you can't see your business, if you can't prove what happened 6 months ago, if your reports are only as strong as your memory, you're not running a company. You're running a dream held together by hope. And dreams, my friend, can collapse when pressure comes. The first thing I did after that story, I checked my own systems, my own audit trails, my own backups, because I realized I'd been lucky. But luck is not a strategy. Let me give you a challenge. Go to your system, whatever you're using. Ask these questions. Can I trace every deleted document? Do I have user access control payroll? Can I produce reports from 2 years ago with confidence? Can I restore lost data? If the answer is, I'm not sure or not yet, then you need to fix that today. Because someone, someday, may try to test your business. And your system must pass the test. ERP is not about compliance. It's not about control. It's about confidence. The confidence to know that what's happening in your business is real, secure, visible, and verifiable. This client story could have ended in court, in bankruptcy, in shame, but instead, it ended with transformation. After we recovered the data, after the audits, after the rebuilding, they implemented a new ERP with full audit logs, with approval workflows, with backups and restore points. And today, they're rebuilding trust because now the system is the guardian. You may think this is just a dramatic story, but let me tell you, I've seen variations of this in retail shops, service companies, construction firms, even schools. Wherever there's no visibility, there's room for chaos. But you don't have to wait for loss to learn. Let this be your turning point. Let this story be your wake-up call.